वेल डावोस डायरी 2022 में आप सभी का स्वागत है। हम वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम में यहाँ इंडिया की प्रेजेंस देख रहे हैं और वो ज़बरदस्त है। इस वक्त मेरे साथ इंडिया की टॉप वॉइस एंड द लीडर ऑफ CII, इनफैक्ट द प्रेसिडेंट राइट नाउ, मिस्टर संजीव बजाज हमारे साथ हैं, जो इंडस्ट्री रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर। सर बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, ऑलवेज अ प्लेजर टू स्पीक टू यू। हम यहाँ डावोस में इंडिया का जो एक मैसेजिंग दे रहे हैं पूरे वर्ल्ड को, वो क्या है सर फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री स्टैंड पॉइंट?
एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम डावोस में अगर आप देखें तो देयर इज क्लियरली ए लेवल ऑफ नर्वसनेस बिकॉज ऑफ द वॉर, बिकॉज ऑफ इंटरेस्ट रेट्स गोइंग अप, इन्फ्लेशन बीइंग अ वरी। तो यूरोप इज सीइंग अ स्लो डाउन। ये भी सच बात है कि द चेंजिंग जियोपॉलिटिक्स दैट वी हैव सीन इन द लास्ट कपल ऑफ इयर्स means that the world is looking for an alternate manufacturing base.
जी।
और ये इंडिया की अपॉर्चुनिटी है। एंड विद द आई वुड से द प्रोएक्टिवनेस ऑफ द इंडियन गवर्नमेंट with the PLI scheme, cutting of corporate taxes, continuing to invest in infrastructure to keep our economy going, and now with the rate hike that RBI has started, but at the same time the move that the government has taken, central government has taken to cut fuel taxes to tame inflation, is all pointing to the right direction. We hope that we can tame inflation in the coming quarters, if not earlier, and once again get started on strong domestic growth to ensure that post-pandemic country comes out roaring back.
Sure.
And then start putting in place the foundation to really try and become the manufacturing hub for the world in certain key sectors.
Okay. Of course, यही दिख रहा है कि endeavor भी है. The government is also speaking the same language and saying कि हम इसको एक opportunity की तरह लें और हम एक base बने for the world to manufacture. But just coming to the point of the concerns right now, inflation जो आपने एक बोला worry है, government is taking steps, RBI has acted upon it, but उसके repercussions ये होंगे कि थोड़ा सा demand कम हो सकती है, and from the industry standpoint that's not a good sign. तो कैसे balance करेंगे इस वक्त, और आपको कितना fear है कि demand पर in real time असर दिखेगा, because of course ये lag effect के साथ आता है. So how prepared are you for the next few quarters?
नहीं तो इन्फ्लेशन जो है ये तो रियल चैलेंज है। अगर आप कॉमन मैन के हिसाब से देखें तो दो जो मेन ड्राइवर्स इन्फ्लेशन के होते हैं, एक तो है फ्यूल प्राइस इन्फ्लेशन, सेकंड इज फूड प्राइस इन्फ्लेशन। जो हमें आज सुनाई दे रहा है कि मानसून तो नॉर्मल होना चाहिए, which means food prices, और फूड प्राइसेस में मेनली तो थोड़ा बहुत व्हीट में प्राइस बढ़ गया है, फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स में बढ़ गया है। दिस शुड स्टार्ट नॉर्मलाइजिंग, which should be good. Second, फ्यूल की बात रही, with the excise duty cut that the government has done, and hopefully state governments also play their role, it should help us to bring down the current fuel prices. But reality ये भी है कि when we import 85% of our oil, we are exposed to external movements in oil.
True.
And that can impact inflation in India. RBI की तरफ से जो इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बढ़ रही है,
और आगे भी बोला ही है उन्होंने।
हाँ, RBI ने बोला ही है, गवर्नर ने बोला ही है, and we are about 70-80 basis points lower than where we were prior to COVID.
Right.
तो वो normalization होना is expected. But at the same time, we must realize that largest part of our inflation is supply-led. It is not by cutting demand that we will be able to drive a big difference. I am hoping that some of the difference it will drive, taking interest rates up, plus some of the action on fuel, and if food comes under control with a good monsoon, brings overall inflation into a level which is manageable.
Yeah, and I think कहीं ना कहीं हम दिख रहे हैं better prepared. I mean, we are already factoring in जो कंसर्न्स आ सकते हैं एज अ कंट्री समहाउ। यहाँ पर जो डावोस में आप लोगों से मिल रहे हैं, द काइंड ऑफ मैसेजेस यू आर गेटिंग फॉर इंडिया, जो इंडिया को एक इन्वेस्टमेंट डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में देखते हैं, पॉलिसी के रूप में देखते हैं, क्या सुनने में आया है सर?
मैसेजिंग काफ़ी पॉजिटिव है। जब हम लोगों से बात कर रहे हैं वो तो यही बोल रहे हैं कि व्हेन विल यू बी रेडी, बिकॉज वी नीड इंडिया, वी नीड टू कम टू इंडिया। Realization ये भी है कि we've had such opportunities in the past, but we've not been able to leverage it to the level required. But we do have a proactive government and a proactive private sector, a much stronger private sector than what it was 20 or even 10 years ago.
Sure.
In many sectors, we are already large players globally. आज आप फार्मा में देखिए, IT में देखिए, IT services में.
Yeah.
So there is no reason why 5 more sectors in the next 5 years and 10 years should
5
do the
sectors
same.
आपके हिसाब से क्या होने चाहिए where we can take the lead?
I would look at the sectors that the government has already announced under PLI, the 13 sectors, and see which of those can really scale up so that both capacity and capability can be world class.
True. Financial space बहुत boom कर रही है in terms of knowing that there is a need for credit and financing needs जो अब हमें infrastructure को support करने के लिए चाहिए. Private cycle capex finally kick in हो रही है. कैसे देखते हैं because you represent a big NBFC, the role of NBFCs going forward?
See, the financial sector, banking and increasingly insurance, ये दोनों sectors are very important for any economy to grow because we are the enablers. We are what supports any economic growth because we provide capital.
Right.
Long-term capital that insurance and pension companies should be providing, and short to medium-term capital which banks and NBFCs should be providing.
True.
For India, we need for India to grow at 9-10%. With the current structure and capacity that we have, is highly unlikely. Which means we have to both attract foreign capital, but foreign capital will come and go. That is the reality.
Yeah.
So we attract them, we bring them in as FDI so that it can stay long, but we also expand domestic capital. In any developed country, जब per capita GDP 2,500-3,000 के करीब आती है, and we are close to, we are over 2,000 now.
Yes. Yes.
That amount of money takes care of the basic requirements of the individual and the family. घर का, गाड़ी का, बच्चों के education का. All the additional savings then go into financial savings. So we have to start preparing for that.
Okay.
And if we see our top 100 million people are already above that level.
Yes.
How can we channelize their financial savings now and use that money to build this economy going forward? To do that, we need many more banks. You need many more large NBFCs. You need to encourage that. लोग बोलते हैं कि नहीं कंसोलिडेशन का टाइम आया है. You also need to consolidate and create a few huge global size banks
Correct.
that can support Indian industry for their global moves. आज आपको बड़ा international acquisition करना हो, you have to go to foreign banks. Indian banks are not allowed to do that. They don't have the size to do that. These are the things.
But
these
now
are the
with
building blocks.
RBI's, change of stance at least on the NBFC front, where they want them to become banks at some point, वहाँ clearly companies like yours play a big role. वो एक opportunity है जहाँ हमें फिर बाहर नहीं जाना पड़ेगा. एक NBFC ही ग्लोबल लेवल का क्रेडिट कर पाएगी.
हाँ, नहीं तो आपके क्वेश्चन में काफी इनडायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस भी है.
Yes,
तो वो तो मैं आंसर नहीं कर रहा हूँ.
मैं वही पूछना चाह रही हूँ.
आरबीआई का क्या पोजीशन है वो क्लियर नहीं है, बट मोर देन दैट वी कैन सी दैट विद एनबीएफसीज लाइक एचडीएफसी, अस, एलआईसी हाउसिंग फाइनेंस, अदर्स, even though we are using an NBFC license, we have built conservative businesses and we are competing with the best of banks. तो आज NBFC हो, कल बैंक हो, these are issues relating to policy, these are issues relating to business strategy, which time will tell what makes sense for each individual entity.
True.
My focus is a lot more to say कि what do we need for India? How does India need to grow?
Correct.
Bajaj Finance grow करे ना करे is a secondary issue, and we will grow. We've done
Of
that.
course,
We will grow in the good
you've
times.
shown it, huh?
But important thing is that we build that capacity for India Inc.
Okay, of course, and ये important बात है कि एक बड़ा role play करेगा companies like yours of the size that they are. Great talking to you, Mr. Bajaj. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.